Part 5. Think about it like an Irish whore for just a minute. If just 3 people can see all of Europe, this amount can certainly change the genetic makeup of a tribal territory. Don't let them perceptually downplay it. And because the white man explored Africa roughly at the same time a pulse ascended upon the earth, unlike other humanity takeovers, there were much fewer people in Lower Africa to assimilate with. Thus, no time nor the cultures to emulate to build civilizations like it was in much populated and older northern Africa. It is though Lower Africa, away from all eyes, was the evildoers' proving ground for their human development program. Notice, we already read, quote, they also encountered some Afro-Asiatic outliner groups in the southeast who had been there for centuries, which could mean scattered Gentiles or Mesopotamia humanity takeover voyage layovers like I proposed much earlier it was. Either way, there were white people living in southern Africa before those we call Africans today. But let's continue for more clues, shall we? Under autosomal DNA, overall ancestry. Listen closely. Quote, in general, the Tutsi appear to share a close genetic kinship with neighboring Bantu populations, particularly the Hutus. However, it is unclear whether this similarity is primarily due to extensive genetic exchanges between these communities through intermarriage or whether it ultimately stems from common origins. Personal quote, generations of gene flow obliterated whatever clear-cut physical distinctions may have once existed between these two Bantu peoples. Renowned to be height, body build, and facial features, with a spectrum of physical variations of the peoples, Belgium authorities legally mandated ethnic affiliations in the 1920s based on economic criteria. Formal and discrete social divisions were consequently imposed upon ambiguous biological distinctions. Okay, check this out. I'm going to skip something. Here we go. You ready for this? In a study with Tishoff in 2009, he found that their mixed Hutu and Tutsi samples from Rwanda to be predominantly of Bantu origin, with minor gene flow from Afro-Asiatic communities at 17%. Gene flow found in the mixed Hutu and Tutsi population. 17% is huge when you're dealing with an elite. Example. Then they go off into their spin routine to discredit what they just said. It's amazing how they do that. 17% is a huge number considering. But as you can plainly see, that Africans ascended upon the earth during our banishment in Babylon and just after our ancestors were banished from Jerusalem by the Romans. Thus, the prime reason why the new and fresh Africans didn't understand. You cannot sell off those who were doing all the work for you. Everything is starting to make sense to me now. They ascended with the sole purpose of getting mixed up with us to bring their Nephilim spirits to America. And that's the part I'm going to read to you a little later on. This is why it was so easy for them to buy, march, and ship so many of us and them without the other tribes ganging up on them for genocidal survival's sake. It was all in the plan. It all makes perfect sense now. And just like our earlier discoveries of strange elements and features of the elite in the other humanity takeovers, giants looking like monkeys, etc. Well, the humans / Bantus aren't any different. What I mean is, if my theory of Southern Africa being a proving ground or an area to acclimate after ascending and before embarking, there should be evidence of freaky primitive / paternal DNA as in chimerism, unusual combinations of standard superficial attributes, etc., in generalized areas. You know, like the hypergeums with strange skulls in Malta, etc. First, the hypergeum similarities. According to NPR, under South Africa cave yields strange bones of early human-like species. September 10th, 2015. Quote, scientists have discovered the fossilized remains of an unusual human-like creature that lived long ago. Exactly how long ago is still a mystery. And that's not the only mystery surrounding this newfound species. The bones have a strange mix of primitive and modern features and were found in an even stranger place, an almost inaccessible chamber deep inside South African cave called Rising Star. Example. Now the Chimera similarities. According to Wikipedia under Vodoma, Vadoma, quote, the Doma or Vodoma are a tribe living in the something starts with the K region of the north of Zimbabwe, especially in the Uruguay and Sipululu districts around the basins of River, a tributary of the Zambezi River Valley. They are the only they are the only traditional hunter-gatherers indigenous to Zimbabwe and famous for the inherited Ectrodactyly existing among some Vodama families. All right? Under history. Quote, according to Vodama mythology, their ancestors emerged from a boboba tree. Upon descending from it, they walked upright to hunt and gather the fruit of the land. The name Vodama is also used in the Zambezi region for a semi-mythical people characterized as magical, capricious, hard to find, and living among the trees. This may refer to Khoisan, Khoisan. We're going to talk about them. Hunter-gatherers who preceded the migration of the Bantu Shona into the Zambezi Valley, and the Voodoo are possibly related to this earlier population. No, they're not. Rumors also persist among nearby people that the Vodama are capable of disappearing in the forest and performing magic. All right? Under Ectrodactyly. Quote, I'm just gonna say the E. Listen to this. A substantial minority of Vodama have a condition known as E, in which the middle three toes are absent and the two outer toes are turned in, resulting in the tribe being known as the two-toed or ostrich-footed tribe. This is an autosomal dominant condition resulting from a single mutation on chromosome number 7. The Eastern Shona, Kangela, and the something desert also have a number of members with the E word and may be related. Example, bingo. I will stop here for a strange reason. See, before we had history to dig through and link up, but strangely, very strangely, ancient African history starts in recent times. It's freaking me out to read people were founded in 500 BC to 500 AD. Another thing, there isn't a genetic trail of evidence of Africans like we had with everyone else. Yet another thing, absolutely no written records of conquest, kingship, treaties to cross-reference whatsoever. Saying that and taking in account everything we have gleaned thus far, including the lack of civilization components like identities, I am convinced the timeline of their ascension is correct, and their ascension pulses were designed to correlate with our being away in Babylon and coming into Africa to be removed far from our borders. Notice, The scriptures are reluctant in pinpointing who was pelting our ancestors trying to rebuild the second temple, even though the Samaritans, Edomites, etc., were mentioned by name, and I can even see why they would have beef. But those who were doing the damage were simply called the peoples of the land. Interesting. I mean, how attached could they possibly get to a land in less than 70 years, knowing full well through the remnant that was left and the word of mouth of the people that they were coming back to return? Interesting indeed. I will do a video or two highlighting some of the tribes with very interesting characteristics I think you may find fascinating.